Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. We're excited to have one of our partners, Hillary Horning from Dynamic Web, and she's going to be presenting on improving buyer experiences in manufacturing with e-commerce. And I know you're all eager to get started with this presentation, so before we begin, as a reminder, we are recording this webinar and we will post it to our on-demand webinar library for you to review again or share with anyone. And if you do have any questions during our presentation, please feel free to type them into the questions box and we will answer them during our Q&A time at the end of our session. Now I'll turn it over to Hillary to kick off our presentation.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Angie, and thank you all of our attendees for joining us today. I'm really excited to walk through this with you. Today, we're going to cover how you can improve your buying experiences with e-commerce, specifically in the manufacturing industry. As Angie mentioned, my name is Hillary Horning, and I'm Director of Sales and Marketing at Dynamic Web. I will just go through a quick agenda of what we'll cover today. So today we'll look at the benefits from a couple different angles. We'll specifically discuss how does e-commerce benefit your customers, which in your case could be direct to consumer, but we're also going to talk about distributors because that's the most common relationship that we see in the industry. Then we'll talk about the benefits to you as the manufacturer. What types of benefits can I gain by implementing e-commerce? And then we'll also talk about the features and best practices. You know, what are some of the things that we're seeing in the industry? How are they working? And why are they working so well? We'll look at a very quick ROI breakdown and show you some tools that you have access to following this webinar if you want to take advantage of that. A quick customer success story, and then we'll leave it up open for Q&A at the end. So we'll go over just a quick introduction about Dynamic Web. Dynamic Web is a global company. We are present currently in 8 different countries. We have over 200 employees worldwide and over 300 partners like Inovia. We have more than 4,000 customers, and because our customers have many solutions with us. Maybe they have a D2C, maybe they have a distributor portal, maybe they have even a B2C. We have many thousands more websites than we do customers. It's roughly in the 13,000 and growing. Just a couple of brands that trust us. Some of these might look familiar to you, like Coca-Cola, Toyota, Australian Gold, Winnebago. Those are some of our larger customers. We also work with customers that are in the mid-market space, not just the enterprise. So we have all kinds of different sizes that we're catering to here and solutions to fit those specific needs. Dynamic Web over the past decade has truly devoted its product development to supporting our customers by simplifying their IT landscape and getting away from what we call the Frankenstack. And just like it sounds, the Frankenstack is a patchwork of solutions in your organization, most often connected by integrations or third-party APIs, that kind of thing. And even when you select best of breed software, these systems aren't always optimized to work together. And over time, you create a monster. You have this big monster that you have to support. It comes with a higher total cost of ownership, a lot of knowledge that needs to be transferred. And typically, it gives you also some additional points of failure and some security risks as well. So at Dynamic Web, we take a slightly different approach. We have what we consider a scalable all-in-one solution. So as you can see here on this slide, we have 4 major components that are working together all under one platform. We have our content management system. That's the building blocks of your website, allowing you to build pages and build content. The e-commerce shopping cart, which obviously is your ability to transact online. Digital marketing, which is unique to our platform, as well as product information management. So we are the only all-in-one platform on the market that combines all of these things together with an integration to your ERP or CRM system. And in most of your cases, that's Business Central or Navision. All right, here's just a quick visual overview of how the Dynamic Web platform is situated between your ERP on the left-hand side and the channels on the right. So Dynamic Web includes content management, e-commerce, marketing, and PIM. We use our integration framework, which is a very light footprint inside of the ERP. That's the same for Nav, that's the same for Business Central. It's very upgradable. So we take that information, your product information, real time, that lives inside of the ERP. That's inventory, customer information, special customer pricing, trade agreements, all of that. And then we push that information to your channel. So that's your website, that's the mobile experience. It could also be a third-party marketplace like Amazon, Walmart, Google Shopping, and social media as well. All right, now let's start to get into the benefits of e-commerce. How does it benefit your customers? Well, we have a list of things. Better buying processes. Better buying processes make happy customers. Happy customers typically come back and they purchase more. And then you lower your churn, which will increase sales and longevity in your pipeline. You have self-service opportunities to give your customer, which contributes to that better buying process. Real-time custom pricing. Your customers want their pricing when they're shopping instead of having to call a salesperson to make sure that they're getting an accurate price. Easy access to the full product catalog. We'll talk about, what types of catalogs, what happens if one of my customers has a different product catalog than others. Well, Dynamic Web can support that. Loyalty promotions and incentives. So better buying processes for B2B customers. Customers now are looking for 24/7 support. One of the benefits of e-commerce is better ordering processes for your customers, whether they're a distributor, a wholesale, or even the end customer. Today's customers prefer to buy digitally at their convenience with visibility into their order status after the order has been placed. At the end of the day, your customers are just B2C customers outside of their 9 to 5. They are familiar with the shopping experience in a B2C environment, thanks to Amazon and some of the others. And we know that by 2023, B2B e-commerce is set to grow to $1.8 trillion, which is, there's a huge opportunity in the B2B space for e-commerce, even more so than there actually is in the retail environment currently. So big opportunity for you as well. Easy access to full product catalog. So giving your customers their product catalog when they have the opportunity to buy. Maybe they work early first shift, so they place their orders at 5 o'clock, and your staff doesn't get into the office until 8 a.m. So there's a gap in service. They don't have to wait for the sales reps anymore to be available when they're available. Maybe they have a specific product catalog. We call that an assortment here at Dynamic Web. Maybe they can order a subset of products because of their region or agreements that they have with you. We can serve up that product information for them so that they don't see products that are not relevant to them and things that they're not allowed to purchase. Real-time pricing. This is real-time coming from your ERP system. We can take that information and give them their price at that time. And that includes promotions and discounts and things like that. And just the familiarity with e-commerce, we talked about that. Your customers are definitely familiar with that shopping experience with their current staff today. Easy access to your product catalog. Searching and filtering is a huge benefit to your customers. It gives them the ability to find what they need when they need it without having to try to describe it to a salesperson. It gives them a sense of empowerment, and then they can browse your entire product catalog down to the products that they need. They can also provide recommendations to other customers, or they can see related products, so you have some additional upsell and cross-sell opportunities, as well as just getting a complete picture of your product details available in one place, which isn't always as easy to do over the phone with the salesperson. There's some follow-up and things that needs to happen. This is a huge benefit to your customers. So let's talk about how e-commerce benefits you as a manufacturer. Obviously, you want to grow your sales volume, which is certainly a possibility. Reduce transaction costs and overhead, so lowering your total cost of goods sold by opening an online channel. It does give you a better way to manage product data and strengthen your customer relationships. So let's dive right into the growing sales revenue. I think this is the #1 motivator for most manufacturers to open up an e-commerce channel, is they want to grow that pipeline and that sales revenue. E-commerce is the fastest growing sales channel. We talked about how in 2023, B2B e-commerce revenue is set to grow to $1.8 trillion. This is currently all manufacturers. It's the greatest opportunity you have to increase your sales revenue. You can also expand your sales reach and online presence. The only salesperson you have that works 24 hours a day is your website. So if you have an e-commerce solution, you can be selling at all hours at any time. Most customers that are given the option to purchase online increase their total order value and volume. It also gives them ability into promotions and incentives. So let's say you have some inventory that you're seeing is not moving as quickly as you want, or you have a particular product that has a higher margin, but you're not selling very much of it. Offering those highly visible promotions and incentives via an e-commerce channel that they can find themselves is going to increase those sales, and you'll have higher demand for it. So you can, strategically move product that way. There's a wider sales bandwidth intake. We talked about that. And your average customer onboarding is slower. So, or I'm sorry, it's more automated. So there's less work on your staff to onboard a particular customer. We can give them a form to be able to create an account that might need to be verified by someone before it gets set up in the ERP, or we can completely automate that. And of course, increasing conversions from customers who may or may not know that you exist by opening up an e-commerce channel. Each product that you have, each product page contributes to your overall sales engine or search engine optimization rate, your SEO. So the more pages you have, the better visibility you have to net new customers who might come in and find you that way as well. So increasing conversion is something that will increase that sales revenue for you. Another big one, reducing transaction costs and overhead. So the second most common reason that B2B companies, specifically manufacturers, open up an e-commerce channel is to reduce the overall overhead and cost it takes to process one order. So by automating those sales order processes, you will gain more efficiencies. You'll actually lower your errors that are caused by manual processes. All of that back and forth that happens will be reduced. Therefore, you can collect more orders in less time, and it's not taking you so much manpower to do that. That way, your sales reps can focus on high value activities instead of just being reactive with customers as they take orders. They can be proactive in increasing their share of wallet with that particular customer. Maybe they have their sights on a completely new account. That's going to give them the ability and flexibility to service those other areas versus just manually processing those orders. Automate your catalog production. So as you put new products into your catalog, that's automated from your ERP. There's no duplicate entry, so that reduces time typically on like a marketing person, so that they can focus on campaigns that will then drive more traffic and conversions on your website to get you more sales. And then of course the targeted digital marketing, by using personalization, we can take those offers and incentives and things and gather information about your customers to deliver them a message that makes sense for them at the right time. So let's say one of your customers has been looking at, let's say that you're a power tool dealer, and your distributor that sells your tools typically is purchasing hand tools, smaller tools, but they've never purchased any saws or any of your larger equipment. You can produce a report that says, show me those customers that fit this behavior. And once they fit this behavior, send them this email marketing campaign with a promotion code to try to get them to put that into their own inventory. So those are the types of things you can do with personalization. And that just reduces all that manual effort. If your team had to go back and talk to the people on the ERP side and say, hey, can you send me everybody who purchased these power tools in this year? I'm going to go back to the website and I'm going to try to see who viewed something on the website. It's a lot of manual effort, but with an all-in-one solution, a personalized solution, you can do that much more easily. So managing and distributing product data efficiently. This is actually one of the biggest things that is contributing to the success of e-commerce once you get there. So having accurate product information and distributing that to the right place at the right time. So one of the benefits of dynamic web, and a critical feature that you won't find in most e-commerce solutions, is our built-in product information management, or PIM module. So with the PIM, you can do things like collect and unify information from various sources. Maybe you have product data that's coming in from one place or another, one department or another. You can have a centralized location for that. It gives you the ability to manage the thousands of product SKUs that you have. Manufacturers typically have more SKUs than any other industry. So it gives you an easier way to manage that. And then you can automate the distribution of that to your websites, catalogs, distributors, partners, even if that are assets and materials like a brochure or a sign or something like that, the PIM allows you to do that. And then you can also connect to those third-party marketplaces. So let's say you want to start selling direct because you know that the margins are high there, and you want to take advantage of marketplaces like Amazon or Google Shopping, Wayfair, Overstock, even Home Depot and some of those places that maybe you're just not quite big enough to have an EDI channel. The PIM can help you with that. And of course, it empowers your customers and employees to search, filter, and manage product data. So if your employees are tasked with updating spec sheets or other, metadata, long description, marketing information, you can delegate access to different areas of the PIM to allow your employees to input that product data in a more user-friendly way. And then, of course, a PIM allows you to have workflows and dashboards, so you have better visibility into your product data. You can set up rules to say, okay, in order for a product to be complete for the website, it has to meet all of these check boxes. It has to have a long description, it has to have a short description, it has to have an image, etc. We can set up rules and say, okay, this is 100% complete, so that workflow can kick in and help push the product through a process without having to have someone go through and manually check to see if that information is up to date. The system can tell you that. And then, of course, strengthening your customer relationships with personalized marketing. We talked about how personalization can help from a sales and marketing perspective. And we can also trigger email campaigns based on customer actions. All right, so let's go into best practices. I'm going to take a quick pause and take a drink. All right, so best practices for manufacturing e-commerce. There's a lot of things here, so let's take a look at the next slide. So focusing on efficiency and reliability. The goal is to make life easier for your extremely busy B2B buyers. So your B2B buyers, they may not be working traditional hours, so allowing them to place orders when they can is exceptionally important. And of course, many wholesalers find great success by piggybacking off of the proven best practices of retail e-commerce, but not all products and sales are best suited for that. You can offer things like flexible payment options and rule-based restrictions, and offer custom pricing in real time. This is the biggest one for manufacturing because I know that you have a lot of trade and purchase agreements with other distributors, so that's something that they're definitely looking for. Advanced self-service. This is going to be things like offering them a secure login, giving them insight into their order status, allowing them to see what they've ordered in the past and what they can reorder, allow them to manage their payment methods and terms, visibility into credit limits and contracts, user-based rules and restrictions, and document sharing, self-service for internal sales reps and partners. And then, of course, we also have in the manufacturing space, a lot of times your products aren't suited for that B2C environment that we talked about. It might not be a make to stock item. It might not be a finished item. So offering them something like a configurator in the end user experience is extremely beneficial. So something like a configure price quote or CPQ system. You can deliver a more engaging digital product experience that way and equip your sales reps with a guided selling and quote building tool. So this will allow them actually to walk their customers through kind of what it is that they're doing in the background if you are offering configured based products and giving that up to your customers. And that typically reduces quote times by 75%, which significantly increases the order volume that you will receive per month. And the accuracy of those quotes is also increased. And of course, you have your built-in rules and all of that's available to your customer on the front end when they go through the CPQ configurator on your website. So that's kind of a step above your traditional e-commerce experience from a manufacturing perspective, is offering that CPQ experience. So how can you leverage promotions and things to take advantage of all of your tools to grow your sales volume? So this is truly a best practice if you want to be kind of on the top end of manufacturing companies that are really succeeding with e-commerce. They are offering tailored marketing promotions to their customers, even in a B2B environment. So you can incentivize your customers in an online way by offering them incentives. Maybe that's 10% off of your first 5 orders. You can offer them limited time offers to move inventory, like we talked about a little bit already. Free shipping incentives. So, maybe they have an incentive to do some shipping and other things like that. And then reminders on their purchase history, and then abandoned shopping cart. So this is something that we're kind of taking from the B2C world, but it truly works in the B2B environment. A lot of times we might actually have to do like a longer time frame. So some inventory, and we can actually set this up based on different inventory rules. So in a B2B environment, it might take them several days to process an order. So you don't want to kick their cart out or delete their cart before they're ready. But in a B2C environment, that could be 24 hours before you move it out of inventory. Or maybe your business is so high volume and changes so frequently that that's what you need. We can try to capture some of that abandoned cart business with targeted emails. And then loyalty programs. So loyalty programs are a great way to obviously keep your customers with you, give them options like redeeming points. And, spend a certain amount of money, you get so many points, and after you have so many points, you can redeem those for things. You can offer different customer tiers based on spend. You can partner with charities and other things like that, that will truly set your company apart by doing something like that. And then related products and recommendations. Obviously, when you are a buyer and you're looking for something, you don't know what you don't know. So by offering that, automated related products, you're going to get so much more content, so many more product offerings in front of them than you even would with a one-to-one salesperson relationship, because automation in that visual sense works really well for the upsell and cross-sell opportunity. All right, so let's look at the ROI specifically for e-commerce. Oh, let's see, I guess it didn't switch my slide. There we go. All right, ROI breakdown. So how do we calculate ROI for B2B e-commerce? And that's typically your increased revenue plus your reduced costs. We have actually built an ROI calculator that's available to you at roi.dynamicweb.com, and we'll share this presentation with you. And of course, if you're watching this recording, feel free to take advantage of that. But this tool will actually estimate your increased revenue with reduction of cost. It does not include the cost of the solution because it's highly variable for every customer. So there would be no way to know what your solution will come out to be, but it will give you a good idea of what type of revenue you could see over the next so many years. You can do this with yourself, or you can go through this with your customer success manager at Innovia or someone from Dynamic Web. We're more than happy to walk through this with you. But yeah, definitely take advantage of that if you're considering e-commerce. It's a really great exercise to go through. And there's some fun facts along the way about why we ask the questions that we do. Where did the information come from? How are we calculating? It just gives you a different kind of insight into the benefits of opening that e-commerce channel, or potentially growing the e-commerce channel that you have by moving to another platform or incorporating marketing or PIM into your overall strategy. All right, so customer success story. We have Aircraft Specialties. So Aircraft Specialties is a Dynamic Web customer. They've been with us for a couple of years now. They had an outdated website when they came to us that was not currently integrated with their ERP. They were actually on Magento. They had struggled with implementing Magento and getting that connected to Nav, but it never quite worked properly for them, so they decided to abandon that project and move forward with Dynamic Web. They didn't have any true web developers on staff, and this is actually something that we kind of see in the Magento environment pretty frequently, is that it requires kind of a fully dedicated web developer to maintain and update the website. And it also doesn't come with any integrated marketing tools. So that was something that they were left up to themselves to find. So they needed to find something that would allow them to keep their staff lean, but also take advantage of some of those best practices that we talked about. Some of the benefits to them was they can make easy changes on the fly by people that are non-coding. So they don't need to have a web developer on staff to build beautiful pages and add promotions and make changes to the website. It did provide them with a more modern customer experience because they never successfully launched their first e-commerce channel. This was a new thing to offer their customers, and they've seen great success there. And of course, their customer self-service, their sales orders are now integrated with their ERP, so that has lowered their internal cost and their overall just manual process that's involved in processing those orders. So a couple specifics about, aircraft specialties, this project. The project was actually completed months ahead of schedule, and there were a lot of factors that went into that. Just excellent collaboration between their team and ours. They had a really savvy guy that knew Nav pretty well. So that definitely helped. And he was actually able to take on some of the work himself. And that was a really great relationship and a really good project to work with. They kept it simple to start with, and they're growing. So that's always an option. And also, I would say we didn't list it on the best practices, but the actual implementation best practice is to start with an MVP, start with something that is, just that minimum viable product that you need to get online to provide that experience to your customers. Take that win and then grow into it. See what your customers are using, where you can improve, and that's something that Dynamic Web does very well. We are quite scalable, and that worked really well for aircraft specialties, or ASI for short. And they also have a brakes repair. So basically what they do is they take aircraft parts, specifically brake components and brake parts, and they repair them, overhaul them, and then they distribute them again. So we gave them an opportunity for them to do that online, which has really simplified their order process. All right. Well, probably a little bit ahead of schedule, but I don't think anyone usually minds. So I will open it up now, Angie, to Q&A if we have any. I'm happy to revisit any of the slides that we went through or talk in more detail about any of this.
Thank you, Hillary. Yes, we do have a couple questions that came through so far. One is, what if we sell wholesale to business, but also direct to customers? Does
Okay,
it handle both B2B and B2C?
yes, that's a good question. So yes, the answer is yes, and you can, and there's a handful of ways that you can do this. Sometimes I know my manufacturers that are here are thinking, man, if I want to go direct to my customers, but I don't think that I can because I have agreements with them. There's maybe a gentleman's agreement or actually a written agreement. We can open up a D2C channel on the same website that you offer a distributor portal or a B2B portal. So maybe the products are different, the pricing is different, and that's all driven by login. Or if they're not logged in, maybe they don't see pricing at all if they're not logged in and they're just a visitor coming to your site. Maybe they see a different price, a retail price versus a wholesale price. That's one option. The second option is to have a completely separate site that can be backed by the same backend, same platform on Dynamic Web, and you can easily spin up another site and have a different experience for those D2C customers. So you can have the combined option with rule-based permissions based on login or no login, or you can have a completely separate site that maybe you white label or is a different brand for your D2C customers. Those are the two scenarios that we see.
Okay, thank you. And does it handle custom pricing for certain customers and contracts?
Yes, that's right. So we do. There's a couple ways to do this. Hopefully you have that in your ERP system inside of Nav or Business Central. You probably have your different customer pricing agreements or your different price groups with your customers. We pull all of that information in, so that's a real-time call. When your customers log into the website, they're looking up a product. That price that's being returned to them is their price from the ERP. So we can do it that way, but if for whatever reason that doesn't live in the ERP, we can also set up some rules on the dynamic website to support that.
Okay. And last question that came through is, can you have a login required on the first page so only onboarded users can make purchases?
Yes. In fact, we have a couple of customers that do that. When you go to their website, you don't see anything at all. It actually just has the login screen. And then all of the branding and everything is like hidden behind that login. So if that's something, it's truly a B2B portal. No one else can access that, not your competitors. It's um, may or may not be indexed by Google, that's an option. Or if you wanted to have, all of your branding and everything up front, your products, and you wanted to showcase an informational only product catalog, you could do that with a login. And once they log in, then they can order, but they have no ability to click a button to add something to cart before then.
Okay, great. I believe those are all the questions that we have for you today. If anybody has any additional questions, please feel free to contact us and we will get them addressed with you further. I just want to thank Hillary for presenting today, and to everyone on our webinar, or if you're watching on demand, we thank you for taking the time out to join us.
And just one last thing before we wrap up, Angie, if you don't mind, we would like to extend an offer for an e-commerce strategy session. So we'll share this with you following the presentation, but if you're interested in kind of going through that strategy session with some of our staff who are experts in the area, and that includes our delivery team, solutions architects, integration engineers, we're more than happy to get that scheduled. So feel free to follow that link, or you can feel free to reach out to me or your customer success manager at Inovia to get that scheduled.
All right. Well, thank you again, Hillary, and thank you for everyone for attending. Just to let you know, we do have some new training workshops for you and your team members to attend. You can visit our training workshop page at inovia.com/workshops for more information and to register for the training workshop that fits your role. And tomorrow we have a webinar with Kalumo, and they'll be presenting on simplified forecasting and budgeting for any organization. And next Tuesday, we have our Inovia food team presenting on got labor concerns? Business Central for food manufacturers can help. So check out our website for more of our upcoming events, and that's inovia.com/events. And don't forget to check out our Inovia Conversation podcasts. We have a variety of podcasts that you can listen to that our hosts, Steve Woltz and Jeff Pergolski, have recorded over the past couple of years. So check that out at inovia.com/podcast and subscribe so you'll get notified when those new episodes air. And fall is approaching, and that means conferences coming up for us. So check out our conference page, and that's inovia.com/conferences to learn more about each of the conferences that we are promoting and sponsoring for the upcoming fall season. And that's inovia.com/conferences. All right, well, thank you again, everyone, for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you soon on another Inovia webinar. Take care,
Thank you,
everyone.
everybody.
Thanks, Hillary.
Thanks, Angie.